Hi, and welcome to Marissa's Kitchen.
Hi.
I had a little buddy that wanted to say hello. Today I'm going to talk about making some sprouted grain pizza dough and bread. And I first learned about this method through the website called Gwen's Nest. Gwen has this bread recipe that is really easy. It is 4 simple ingredients and it makes a really delicious bread. And then just last summer I got introduced to making the bread in 5. It's artesian bread in 5 minutes a day. And while neither of these recipes call for using sprouted flour, I went ahead and tried it with sprouted flour and it works fantastic. Okay, so let's get baking. The first thing that you would need if you're making sprouted, and Gwen goes into talking about how you can make this low-carb bread even if you're using whole wheat flour, regular whole wheat flour, and some white. But I'm going to use sprouted flour because I want to bake this today and not wait 3 days, which is the whole science behind how to make it like less carbs because it's fermenting and eating the carbs. So anyway, I buy this off Amazon, and I will have an affiliate link in this video's description if you want to be able to easily find this. I do earn like a small commission, like seriously very small commission, if you happen to purchase through my link, but whether you do or don't is totally fine. This is the sprouted flour that it's 1 degree, and I can't remember how much this was per pound. I know it's like under $5 a pound, but it comes in a 5-pound bag, and it arrived in the mail yesterday, which was perfect because we were wanting to have pizza tonight. So you need flour, you need yeast, not just regular old yeast, not like the instant or anything, and then kosher salt, and this is the kind of salt that like you'll see on pretzels, where it's like, I don't know if you can see in my hand with the light as I'm dumping salt on my counter. There you can see it. So it's the kind of salt that's like on pretzels and stuff. It's real big. And one of these lasts, seriously, I've had this for years. I don't even know how many years, but I don't think salt goes bad. So yeah, it's worth the small amount of money to get it. And then water. So that, guys, that's all you're putting in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut open this bag and measure out the flour and show you mixing it up. What I use to mix my my bread in, and this is kind of small because I'm gonna have the recipe. I'm only making half the recipe, so you want something that's you can just set the lid on and not have it be airtight. So this is just a Tupperware that I happen to have, and this fits perfectly for making half of the recipe. Okay, so I'm gonna add like room temperature or just a little bit warm to like 100 degrees. 1.5 cups of water. Again, I'm only having the recipe. And then 3/4 of a tablespoon of yeast. And then I already measured out 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt, the kosher salt. And now you do the scoop and sweep method, which probably many of you already use, where you're just measuring it out and then, oh my gosh, okay, I gotta get a bowl. This stuff's pricey, I don't wanna waste it. So the scoop and sweep, so I'm just gonna measure out, it calls for 6.5 cups of flour, which I'm just realizing I think I put the wrong amount in my other dough I just made. I make my family regular because they are not doing THM, and then for myself I make this. So I'm adding 3 1/4. I got this awesome tool off of Amazon, and I heard about this on the Bread and Five website, which I'll include in this video's description. But it makes mixing up it's for this particular recipe, mixing up dough, makes it really, really easy. So you want to mix it until it's kind of evenly moist and there's not any dry flour. I've got it pretty well mixed here. Oh, found one more dry spot. And it is a bit of, the reason why I like making this like half recipe, well, I'm so professional here, aren't I? Ducking down to talk to you guys. The reason I'm doing the half recipe is because it is easier to prepare, I think. And I often don't work through as much of that dough quickly. So to me, a half a recipe is really great because it's not as much arm muscle, and I have neck issues, so trying to stir the bread ends up becoming like this really big workout that is not fun. So here we are. Seems less moist than normal, and I'm not sure why, but there is my dough. And I'm just gonna show you the dough that I had already started that for my family's pizza tonight. And this is after it's been sitting for an hour. Actually, maybe an hour and a half. And you can see that it's already risen. So you're gonna leave it out on the counter for a couple hours, and then you're gonna stick it in the fridge, and they say to keep it in the fridge for like 2 to 3 hours before you go to work with it, because it's pretty sticky dough. So I'm gonna go get this, well, yeah, I'm just gonna put the lid on this so it can start rising. So my dough has risen. Sprouted flour dough does not rise a ton, so this is as much as it's risen in like 2 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and grab out about a grapefruit size ball, and the white flour one is way stickier than the sprouted flour, and you can kind of make it into a ball first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shape this into a pizza sized round. I have my dough spread out. The sprouted flour tends to break a little bit more. It's not as elastic as regular flour, but I have here my little pizza round. So I have my pizza peel that I mentioned in my my birthday video that I had gotten it for my birthday. This is my first time using it, and it's going all right. Takes some getting used to, but I have some cornmeal on there, and that'll keep this from sticking. It's a minimal amount. I have found that shredding my own mozzarella cheese and letting it get to room temperature makes for a really yummy pizza. I'm a drive-through Sue, so store-bought cheese that's already shredded has always been like my go-to. Okay, I have another pizza that needs to come out. But I'm gonna top this, and then I'm gonna get it. I forgot to mention that I preheated my oven with my baking stone in there. I also got my baking stone off of Amazon, and yeah, you preheat it so it's hot, and I'm gonna use the peel to shove it in there, which I'm still learning technique, but that's what I'm gonna do now. I have my pizza all topped now. I just did this just to practice, but I'm gonna take my pizza peel over to the sink and make sure that I can move my pizza. Okay, so it's sat for a little bit. This did move a second. Okay, so it's moving now. I'm gonna brush off the excess cornmeal because it can smoke in your oven. So, and then I'm just gonna throw this in. And voila! Okay, while that's in the oven baking, I thought of something I wanted to mention to you guys. If you're like, well, I can't do this because I don't have a pizza peel and I don't have a baking stone, I started out making the artesian bread and pizza just using 2 cookie sheets, and you can turn the cookie sheet upside down. so that there's a flat surface and no rim, and that's what the book recommended doing. So I started out, before I got these things, I just used cookie sheets and parchment paper. So anyway, I don't want you to feel like you can't make this because you don't have a pizza peel or a baking stone, because you don't necessarily need those items. Also, I wanted to add one more thing. The pizza sauce that I'm using tonight is the Great Value from Walmart. It's low sugar. It doesn't actually contain any sugar. Because I'm nursing my baby right now, I'm doing a lot of crossovers, and so if I wasn't doing a crossover and wanted to make this an E, I would keep the cheese really minimal and try to really load up on a lot of veggies on it. And yeah, and probably put some turkey pepperoni. Tonight I'm having regular pepperoni, and I did put some black olives and green olives and some spinach and some red bell pepper. So that's what I'm having on my pizza tonight. Okay, so my pizza's out of the oven. This is what it looks like. It definitely has like a rustic, hearty look to it with that sprouted flour compared to my family's. That one got really misshapen. Anyway, so it definitely looks a little different. It's gonna have much more of an earthy, nutty tone to it. But I have had this sprouted flour several times as pizza dough and really enjoy it. So I'm gonna go eat my pizza, and I think that's it. So I will see you next time. I do mention that I use Great Value pizza sauce, and I will say it's not my favorite pizza sauce. Pearl and Serene have put it in a lot of their recipes, and they make it taste amazing by the stuff that they add. Standalone, I don't love it. I sometimes will just use spaghetti sauce that I have on hand if I can find ones with low sugar. I think there was one from Costco, has a marinara with no sugar, and then Bertolli might have one with no sugar that I used that really made delicious pizza. So I do mention the Great Value in this, but I will say that doesn't make the best pizza. I used it because I had it on hand. And the price of the sprouted flour, I checked on that, and right now on Amazon it was like $3.16 a pound, and it comes in a 5-pound bag. So I think that was everything. Also, if you are in weight loss mode right now I'm nursing, so I'm doing a lot of crossovers, but one thing I would have told myself back when I was at the beginning of losing my 30 pounds is to take a Friday night once in a while and just have a crossover and enjoy it, because you know what, you're in it for the long haul with THM. THM is a lifestyle, and you're learning healthy habits, and once in a while just don't be so hard on yourself and enjoy a good crossover on a Friday night and just relax with your family. So if I could go back and tell myself something, that's what I would have told myself.